my name is Mackenzie and today we'll be going through an interval workout. So today we're doing something a little different that I haven't done in any of my videos yet. We're going to be adding some light weights. So whether that is just gallons of milk jugs or if you happen to have a set of light dumbbells, we will need those for our videos today. So feel free to pause the video, grab the weights, and let's get started. So for our warm-up, we have 3 movements. It's going to be burpees, happy stars, and air squats. So a burpee, I don't care how pretty it looks, it just needs to be getting on the ground and getting back up. So one option can be jumping the feet out and then jumping them back up with a hop at the top, or you can step down, step up, hop, or if you can't quite get all the way to the ground, it doesn't have to be a push-up. It can literally just be falling on the ground, but if that's not in the cards for you today, you can step back into a plank, hold for a second, and then step back up. So, or you can do any combination thereof, so hopping down, maybe stepping up, or stepping down, hopping up. Next movement is going to be happy stars, so we're going to lay on our backs in a nice starfish position, and you're going to bring the opposite arm to the opposite leg, trying to touch that toe, just activating the core a little bit here. So an option, if you can't quite touch your toe, just trying to come up, just trying to get this shoulder blade off the ground as high as we can. Maybe that's just touching the shin, but just trying to come up as far as you can. And our last movement is going to be air squats. So we want our feet underneath our shoulders, so about shoulder distance apart, toes slightly out, turned out. We're gonna brace the core. So I like to think about it as you're squeezing your abs, make sure that your upper body stays in one straight line, protecting everything you got in there. We're gonna send the hips back, knees out, trying to get the hip crease at or below 90 degrees, and squeezing the glutes to come back up. So sending the hips back, knees out, coming back up. Modification for this would be, instead of going all the way down, we're gonna just do a quarter squat, so just coming down about halfway and then back up, still focusing on those glutes and those quads. So for our warm-up today, we have 3 rounds of 3 burpees, 6 happy stars, and 9 air squats. So it should be very quick, just trying to get the body ready for our workout today. So let's go ahead and start with those 3 burpees, and you can go at my pace, you can go faster, you can go slower. Feel free to pause the video if you need to during this warm-up. We're just trying to get our body ready. So starting those 3 rounds off with 3 burpees, and go. Once you're done with those burpees, coming down onto the back for our happy stars. So bringing the opposite arm, opposite leg. It's only going to be 3 on each side. Okay, and air squats. Really remember to keep the core nice and tight here. Squeezing the glutes to come up. Just kind of warming up that lower body a little bit. Okay, that was the air squat. So now we're going back through 2 more times, back to those burpees, just 3 burpees. Coming back onto our back for those happy stars. Maybe see if you can pick up the pace a little bit for this second round. And 9 air squats. See if maybe you can get a little bit deeper on those squats as we progress in the rounds. now our last round. Again, if you're going faster than me, slower than me, pause the video, speed it up, whatever you need to do. Oh, sorry. 3 burpees. Six happy stars. And bringing it up for 9 air squats. Okay, should be feeling pretty warm right now. Feel free to stretch anything you need to, mobilize anything you need to, grab some water, and I'm gonna go through our movements for our first block. So, for this first block, we have 3 rounds of 6 different movements, and we're doing each movement for 30 seconds. So, our first movement is just going to be jumping jacks. So, flipping the feet out, hands above the head, and back together, like this. Modification would be stepping one foot out, and then the other, but still incorporating those arms. Next movement, this is where we're gonna bring in those weights. This is gonna be a full body movement, so we're gonna do a lunge with a bicep curl. So you'll have the weights by your side, palms facing forward. And then as you lower down in the lunge, you're gonna bring the weights up in a bicep curl. And when you switch legs, same thing. So as you're going down, the weights are going up. And then our second movement, we're gonna keep that lunge, but we're gonna transition the weight, and we're gonna go from shoulder to overhead. So again, as you go down, the weights go up. So stepping one leg out, weights up, and the other way. So modification for the bicep curls, either going with a lighter weight or possibly even no weight. But we still want to try to get that full range. So from arms straight to trying to bring it as close to the shoulder as we can. And then lunges, modification for that. Instead of touching the back knee, we're maybe just going to come down about halfway and then switch. And then for that overhead press, again, modification might be going with slightly lighter weights, or maybe even no weights, just working on the movement. So those are our options, either going down in weight for all of the upper body parts, or just doing no weight, just working on the movements themselves. And then we have another cardio move. It's going to be side shuffle. So getting down in kind of a half squat position, shuffle a few steps one way, touch the ground, shuffle a few steps the other way, touch the ground in a squat. We want to make sure that we're not bending at the hips to touch the ground. We want to lower ourselves down in a squat like we did in the warm-up. Modification for that would just be maybe taking out the squat and just working on going side to side. Maybe it's even just stepping side to side, getting rid of that little hop in between. And then our final movement is going to be a plank, but we're going to be bringing our knees to our elbows. So hands on the ground, shoulders over our hands, trying to keep a nice straight line with our body, and we want to try to bring our knee to the same elbow. Nice, slow, and controlled movements. Modification for this would be taking at the knees, just holding a plank, and you can always go down to the knees while you're holding that plank. And then our final movement is going to be a rest. So, like I was saying, this is going to be 3 rounds of all of these movements, 30 seconds for each movement, and then we have the rest at the end. So that means we're transitioning straight from one movement into the other. So we're going to start with jumping jacks, and then we go to the lunges with the bicep curl, then the lunges with the overhead press, finally to side shuffle, and then the plank with the knee to the elbow. So grab water if you need it. We're gonna go ahead and get started with those jumping jacks in 3, 2, 1. Just like the warm-up, you can go at my pace, you can go faster, you can go slower, whatever is gonna push you today, giving you the best workout for you. Halfway. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab those weights. We're going into the lunges with the bicep curl. So try to make these transitions as fast as you can, because this is your work time. You can also, if you'd like, you can also backwards lunge with this. Doesn't have to be forward. Just remember, we really want to squeeze the glute of that front leg to bring us up. And switching to that overhead press, we want to make sure that when we're in that overhead press, we're keeping our torso nice and strong. We're not letting it bend or overextend. We're staying nice and strong. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Putting those down, going into the side shuffles. So we're trying to move from side to side as fast as we can here. Your legs should be burning after those lunges. And now with these side shuffles, 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Rest. No, not rest. Now on the plank, bringing that knee to the elbow. Key thing is here, we don't want to come up when we bring in that knee up. We want to keep our hips nice and low in one straight line. Over halfway. And it's not about the quantity you do here, it's about the quality. We want nice, slow, and controlled. And rest. Okay, 30-second rest. Grab water, stretch if you need to. But we're gonna start back at the top with those jumping jacks. In 15 seconds. And this time around, I'm gonna add an option for those jumping jacks in case you wanna ramp it up a little bit. So, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jumping jacks. So what we can do is we can do star jumps. So that means jumping the feet, leaving the ground, bringing the hands up like this rather than jumping the feet out. So that's an option if you want to ramp it up a little bit. 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Moving on to those lunges with the bicep curls. Really focus on using that front leg, the glute, to lower yourself down and come back up. And we want to make sure that with those shoulders, upper body, we're staying nice and in a straight line, nice and strong. And 3, 2, 1. So staying with the lunges, just transitioning now to that overhead press. We want to make sure too that we're not letting the knee come over the ankle. We want to try to keep it right above the ankle. And 3, 2, 1. Side shuffles. Halfway. 2, 1. Okay, plank with those knees to elbows. Try to really pull those shoulders away from the ears here. 3, 2, 1. Rest. We just have one more round of this. Then we'll take a short rest. I'll go through the movements for our second block, and we'll get into it. So again, we're starting with those jumping jacks with the option to add in the star jumps if you want to ramp it up, or just those toe taps. And go. Halfway. Last 5 seconds, maybe add in a few star jumps. And rest. Actually, no rest. Grab those weights for the bicep curls and lunges. We really want to control the weight. So, bringing it up nice and controlled and not just letting our arms fall. We want to lower it nice and controlled. And switch. The same goes for the overhead press. We want to be in control of the weights the entire time. And 3, 2, 1. Into those side shuffles. Almost done. Push it for the last 15 seconds. See if you can go a little bit lower. And 3, 2, 1. Plank. Then we get a rest. Halfway. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Nice work on our first block. Grab water. Stretch, stay nice and loose. If you want to, while I'm explaining the movements, if you feel like you don't need to keep resting, feel free. Start doing some jumping jacks just to stay moving, keep that heart rate up. So for our first block, the first movement is going to be skaters. So what that looks like, we are going to start on one side, hop. Want to land, you can tap the back leg if you want, but we really want to focus on a nice controlled landing with that front leg, hop, just going side to side. If you want to, you can add in a little squat, so touching the ground on either side. Modification would also just be just stepping back and forth. So getting rid of the hop and just going to a step. Really focusing on controlling our momentum, slowing us down, and then exploding to the other side. Second movement, we're going to pick up those weights and get on the ground. So we're going to be doing bridges with a bench press for this first movement. So what we want to do, we want our feet just a short distance away, so just out of reach of our fingertips, about hip distance apart. We're gonna really engage the glutes, the hamstrings, to pick our hips off the ground, trying to get them as high as we can. And then we're also gonna get our arms out in a T position to add in a bench press. So this one, when the hips go up, the arms go up. Hips down, arms coming down out to the side in a T position. Hips up, arms coming together. So here, modifications would be using a lighter weight or no weight, but we still want to try to add in a bit of that bench press. But we can't forget about the bridge. And then for the next movement, we are going to keep the bridge, but instead of doing a bench press, we're going to do a little bit of tricep work. So you can either hold both your weights, go down to one weight, lighter weights, no weights, but we want our elbows to be about over our head. Then we're going to let the weight come behind our head and then use the triceps to pull the weight back up. And while we're doing that, we're also going to have our hips up. So when the hips go down, triceps go back, hips up, weights go up. So down, up, again, modifications. You can go down to one weight for that, or just go lighter weights or no weights at all. And then next movement is going to be squat jumps. So the first option here would just be to do an air squat. So like we did in the warm-up, feet about shoulder distance apart, keeping the core nice and tight. You want to keep our upper body nice and straight. Sending the hips back, knees out, just coming down and up. So that's the first option. Second option, we are going to add in a jump. So sending the hips back and then propelling ourselves off the ground, landing in a squat to cycle through to the next one. So again, that is at your own pace, trying to go as fast as you can while still maintaining good form and being able to maintain that pace for the entire 30 seconds. And our last movement is going to be a Superman. So we're going to be on our stomachs, arms out in front of us, and we're going to try to lift our arms and our legs as high off the ground as we can. Modification, bringing those arms in. So just like the first block, we have the same kind of time scheme. So we have 30 seconds for each movement and then resting at the very end. So again, we want to make sure that our transitions are as smooth as possible, as quick as possible, so we can get the most work in. But instead of doing 3 rounds, this time we only have 2. So we're going to be starting with those skaters, then going into our 2 bridge movements, and then our squat jumps, and ending with a Superman. So we have 2 rounds here. Let's start with skaters in 3, 2, 1. So we're trying to jump as wide as we can. Again, you can always add in a slight squat. We just want to make sure that our legs are bringing us down and it's not just us bending over to get to the ground. 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Grabbing those weights, moving into the bridge hold with the bench press. So when weights go up, hips go up, and here we're just bringing the elbows down to the floor and sending them back up. And 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Keeping that bridge. We're now transitioning to this tricep movement, the skull crushers. So if you can see this, so hips down, weights down, hips up, weights up. Trying to coordinate our movements here. Oh, Less than 10 seconds left. And transition, going into those squat jumps. So, again, modification would just be doing air squats. You can add in an optional calf raise to get that extension. 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and Superman. We get a rest after this, so try to maintain the Superman for the entire 30 seconds. Over halfway. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 30-second rest. Then we just have one more round of this, and then we have a short little Tabata finisher, and we're done for the day. So 20 seconds less of rest. Get some water. Just kind of stay moving a little bit. 10 seconds. And we're gonna start with those skaters again. Again, this is our last round for this block. And 3, 2, 1. Halfway. Bring it down to the bridge, starting with those bench press. And trying to get into it as quickly as you can. Ten seconds left. And transition to the skull crushers. Again, really focus on trying to get the hips as high as you can during these movements. You should be feeling pretty tired at this point, but we're almost done. 3, 2, 1. Coming up for those squat jumps. Again, we really want to make sure our core is staying nice and tight, that we're not bending over at the bottom. We want to keep that chest up. 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Superman. Then we're done with this block. So again, trying to lift the chest and the legs as high as you can off the ground. Three, 2, 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay, nice work so far. We just have one last little push, less than 4 minutes of work, and we're done for the day. So grab some water, stay loose, and I'll go through our movements. So what we're going to be doing is Tabata format, so that means 20 seconds of work followed by 10 seconds of rest, 8 times. And because we have 2 movements, that means we're doing each movement 4 times. Our first movement is going to be jump up. So we're going to start in the plank position on the hands underneath the shoulders. And we're going to try to jump the feet up as close to the hands as we can while maintaining the full foot on the ground. We don't want to just jump up to our toes. We want to try to keep the full foot on the ground and jumping back and up. Modification would be stepping the legs up, stepping the legs back, or just holding the plank. Then our second movement, we're gonna flip over for a little bit of core work. So we're gonna be doing leg circles. So we're gonna go clockwise on the odd rounds, counterclockwise on the even rounds. So you can put your hands under your hips or just out to the side for support. We want to focus on engaging the core, trying to push the lower back into the ground, feet together, toes pointed, and we're just doing little circles with our legs. This shouldn't be super fast. We want to keep them nice and controlled, so we'll go clockwise for one round, then counterclockwise for the next. So, grab a last sip of water. We have this quick Tabata to finish it out, and then we're done for today. So again, jump ups and leg circles. For the leg circles, the modification, we're gonna bend the knees and do more knee circles. So just trying to shorten that lever, make it a little bit easier. Okay, so we're gonna start with this Tabata. Again, 20 seconds of work followed by 10 seconds of rest, 4 times through for each movement. Starting with those jump ups in 3, 2, 1. Okay, go at your own pace. Just make sure that it's challenging for you. And 3, 2, 1. Flipping it over for those leg circles. And 3, 2, 1. So going clockwise this round. Trying to go nice, slow, and controlled. 10 seconds left. And rest. Flipping back over for our jump ups. In 3, 2, 1. Seconds left. Rest. Okay, so make sure this time for the leg raises that we're going the opposite direction. Maybe that's counterclockwise. Just make sure it's the opposite. And go. Really focus on keeping the lower back on the ground. If you feel like it's starting to arch up, you can always raise your legs up a little bit higher or bend the knees. And rest. So we are halfway through. That means less than 2 minutes of work and we're done for today. So jump ups in 3, 2, 1. Direction for those leg raises in 3, 2, 1. Over halfway. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Okay. Last round coming up. Grab a quick drink of water if you need it. And go. our last set of leg circles. 3, 2, 1, go. Halfway. Really push it, almost there. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Nice work today. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure that you get a good stretch in after this. My name is Mackenzie, and we just did an interval workout. See you again next time.